Wagwego, what's funny word adus, Camellia Youngyak, Miracle de Waxanazerde, Ganyonge Haga, Niwagut Wanjodon. So what I said in Ganyonge Ha Mohawk language is hello everyone, welcome. Camellia is my name, Miracle is my last name, and I am Mohawk First Nation. So let's get down to it. Today I'm going to be presenting on the nòra Kaiatoni, which is the corn husk doll. We have been doing this craft for over hundreds and hundreds of years, and it's not just Ganyonge Haga people that do these crafts. I believe the Cherokee people have done this as well, and the Oneida people. I have heard two similar stories to the story I'm about to read you, so don't get it twisted. We all have our different traditions and ways of telling this story and also doing this craft. But first off, I'm going to be presenting on the Ohana Gariwandekwa, which is the Thanksgiving address. I like to do this before I do anything in regards to a group forum or just being in a group in general. This is how I personally show myself and show other people how we give thanks in Ganyonge Ha and within the Ganyonge Haga people. So basically, here I go. The Ohana Gariwandekwa, Agwego Anskatji and Jidwe Dwatnuni Neangwat Nigorda, Dayatinu Orandus Ne Ungwe Sua, Togadi Nayoto Neangwat Nigorda. Agwego Anskatji and Jidwe Dwatnuni Neangwat Nigorda, Dayatinu Orandus Ne Yatinista Gio and Jade, Togadi Nayoto Neangwat Nigorda. Dayatinu Orandus Ne Gatni Gardunio, Togadi Nayoto Neangwat Nigorda. Agwego anskat G and Jidwid wat nuni neongwat nigorda, Dayatinu Orandus ne Gunjok Sua, Togadi Nayoto neongwat nigorda. Agwego anskat G and Jidwid wat nuni neongwat nigorda, Dayatinu Orandus ne Oderda Sua, Togadi Nayoto neongwat nigorda. Dayatinu Orandus ne Ohunde Sua, Togadi Nayoto neongwat nigorda. Agwego anskat G and Jidwid wat nuni neongwat nigorda, Dayatinu Orandus ne Ojinua Sua, Togadi Nayoto neongwat nigorda. Agwego anskat G and Jidwid wat nuni neongwat nigorda, Dayatinu Orandus ne Gahik Sua, Togadi Nayoto neongwat nigorda. Agwego anskat G and Jidwid wat nuni neongwat nigorda, Dayatinu Orandus ne Onunkwa Sua, Togadi Nayoto neongwat nigorda. Agwego anskat G and Jidwid wat nuni neongwat nigorda, Dayatinu Orandus ne Johekwa, Togadi Nayoto neongwat nigorda. Agwego anskat G and Jidwid wat nuni neongwat nigorda, Dayatinu Orandus ne Gundirdio, Togadi Nayoto neongwat nigorda. Agwego anskat G and Jidwid wat nuni neongwat nigorda, Dayatinu Orandus ne Garunda Sua deno Ogwerde Sua, Togadi Nayoto neongwat nigorda. Agwego anskat G and Jidwid wat nuni neongwat nigorda, Dayatinu Orandus ne Ojidon Ogua, Togadi Nayoto neongwat nigorda. Agwego anskat G and Jidwid wat nuni neongwat nigorda, Dayatinu Orandus ne Gayerdi Niga Wardage, Togadi Nayoto neongwat nigorda. Agwego anskat G and Jidwid wat nuni neongwat nigorda, Dayatinu Orandus ne Yunki Soto Ogua Rediwerdas, Togadi Nayoto neongwat nigorda. Agwego anskat G and Jidwid wat nuni neongwat nigorda, de cheat wat nu wardandus ne Anjid wat Gia Jokaneka Garakwa, Togadi Nayoto neongwat nigorda. Agwego anskat G and Jidwid wat nuni neongwat nigorda, Dayatinu Wardandus ne Yeti Sita Asataneka Garakwa, Togadi Nayoto neongwat nigorda. Agwego anskat G and Jidwid wat nuni neongwat nigorda, Dayatinu Wardandus ne Yojisto Guardunio, Togadi Nayoto neongwat nigorda. Agwego anskat G and Jidwid wat nuni neongwat nigorda, Dayatinu Orandus ne or de cheat wanu Orandus ne Sungwayat diso dano gutsat stansura serawana sa oyerda, Togadi Nayoto neongwat nigorda. Onatoni orde wagaderdi wats gwani, Doga otano, Junget nigorha, Izage ne azawat dot serodo, Toknigawanage deno ona eto. Alright, so we can jump right into telling the story of the corn husk doll. So as I said, there's many variations of the corn husk doll story, but this is one that I specifically was taught by my Auntie Kate Brandt in Tyendinaga Mohawk territory, and was also you know, really grateful to get that teaching from her at that point in time, because that was the place I was in. And I continuously work on this area in myself, because I am no better and I do not know more than any other person. And I believe that's a really important value to keep in our lives. So here I go. So the nòra Kaiatoni, the corn husk doll. The Haudenosaunee people respect what they call the life sustainers, the three sisters, the corn, beans, and squash. The corn spirit was so thrilled to be one of the life sustainers that she asked the Great Spirit if there was anything more that she could do for her people. The Great Spirit told her that the doll could be formed into a husk, and her responsibility would be to take care of the children. So he made the doll from her husk and gave the doll a beautiful face. Then the doll went from village to village and played with the children. Everywhere she went, everyone kept telling her how beautiful she was. They said, "Corn husk doll, you are so beautiful." And every time she would go back to the pond and admire herself. So it wasn't long before she became conceited, and she also lost track of her responsibilities. The Great Spirit called her, but before she went into the Great Spirit's lodge, she looked into the pool of water to admire herself. The Great Spirit talked to her and told her that if she kept thinking that she was better than everyone else, a terrible punishment would come upon her, but he wouldn't tell her what that would be. So again, the doll went from village to village, playing with the children, and again, everyone kept telling her how beautiful she was. The reason why she went to every village is because she wanted to also remind the people of what their responsibilities were and why they were doing what they were doing, because long ago they used to work in the fields and they used to hunt and fish and everything, and a lot of the time we would do things for our families. It wasn't long before she became conceited again. The Great Spirit called her, and once again she looked into the pool of water to admire herself before going into the lodge. Upon entering, the Great Spirit told her, "I have given you one warning. Now a great punishment will come upon you." So in some variations of the story, the corn husk doll had been given 3 warnings. But he still wouldn't tell her what that was. When she left the lodge, she again looked into the pool of water to admire herself, but this time she didn't have a face. The Great Spirit had taken it away. Since that time, the Haudenosaunee people do not have a face on their corn husk dolls. This is to remind people never to think that they are better than anyone else, to never lose track of their responsibilities, or a great punishment will fall upon them. So I don't like to think of things as a great punishment will fall upon them. I'd like to change that idea and say that, you know, karma bites us in the butt. If we are not careful and mindful of our responsibilities in our own lives, then we will lose track of ourselves, but we will also lose track of the responsibilities that we are to carry within our families and within our own communities. So on that note, that is the nòra Kaiatoni story, and I'm going to get right into making the corn husk doll. So this is the basic first step of the doll. As you can see, it's kind of like kind of messy, but sorry about that. Then this would be our second step here, and then this would be the whole entire corn husk doll. So you can make the corn husk doll with legs, or you can make it with a skirt, but I generally like making it with legs. It's your choice completely. So basically, for step 1, what we want to do is we want to grab at least 1, 2, I would say 4 or 5 of these husks here. So I'm going to grab a little bit more just because I want my corn husk doll to be thick. say 6 of them because mine are quite small. If you have bigger husks, they work better. But for me, this is how it's gonna go right now. Alright, so, and again, before you start your corn husk doll, you want to make sure that the husks are soaking in either warm or coldish water prior to that. I like to soak them in warm water because it's just better for me, but either or is fine. So basically what you want to do is you want to take your corn husks and you want to wrap them together just like so to create a body, okay? And to also create a head. Now what some people will do is they will grab like a little foam ball, or they'll even use some kind of fabric to create a nicer head. But for me right now, what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to be layering these on with one another, and I'm going to be making the doll this way. So this is how I'm going to be creating the head of the doll and the body. Okay, so what we want to do is we also want to tie this up. And make sure that it's nice and tight. I'm going to grab my scissors over here. And when I'm ready, I'm going to cut some of the string there because it is quite long at the moment. It is quite long at the moment. Okay. I'm gonna triple knot it. Okay. All right. So this is what we got here, my friends. And then what we want to do is we want to start wrapping them along here. To make sure that we create a nice little head for the doll. So I can't really, hold on here. We want to do this one at a time because you don't want your doll to look all messed up. We want her to look nice and clean. Mind you, the corn husk doll will look the way it looks as long as you put a lot of good love into it. So this is what my head looks like it's going to be at the moment. And I'm just going to keep that in mind. And I am now going to tie another knot here so I can make sure that the head stays in place. So just give me a second, okay? And I am again just going to double knot it. It's better if you use the kind of sinew because it does stick better together when you tie it in knots. And you want to make sure that when it is tied in a knot that, you know, everything's going to stay together. So as you can see, I have a little bit more string to cut, but that's my corn husk doll's head. All right, so that is the head and the body of my doll. So the next thing is we want to, before we do anything else, make the arms, okay? So we're gonna put this down for a minute. And now we are going to focus on the arm part, okay? So honestly, I'd say grab 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. That's good enough. How many do I have here? 1, 2, 4 little husks. Okay. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna tie both pieces of string at the end of both little, both hands, I like to say, or both arms, or arm in general. All right, so here I go. I like to cut the string in half, as you can see, and make 2. And I guess I'll double knot it again. And then I'll cut the string right after. And again, I'm just going to do the same thing for the other side. So again, I just want to apologize and say that I am sorry that you guys cannot see this more clearly. I don't know how to actually lean my my tripod in a good way that everyone can see what I'm actually doing. But I hope this helps in a form. So this is what I've done so thus far. And yeah, here I am. I need to cut the strings at the bottom here because you don't want them to be too long. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I double knotted them so they're good to go. And they're not as equal as I'd like them to be, but I can always cut it. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Just going to cut it. You can see, cut this here and make it more equal, and cut it a little bit more. Ooh, yeah, now it's looking bomb. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to put the arms through the corn husk doll's body because we want to make sure that the corn husk doll has arms. So here I go. I'm going to split her in half. And now what we're going to do is we're going to tie her off like this. See, so now she has arms, a head, and a body. Woo! And what some people will do actually is they'll add hair as well with the corn husks. Ooh, I dropped it. Her little body fell apart, sorry. What they'll do is they'll add hair, you know, with the husks themselves, but they'll do that during the head part. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie it off again with another string. So now the corn husk doll has a bit of a body here. So we're gonna fix her head in the end, just so everything's like more, a lot more cleaner. So again, I'm just gonna double knot it, but this again is the corn husk doll's body. And you wanna make sure that it's kind of tight so the arms don't fall out. But everything's gonna dry up anyways, and it'll still look like your doll. So, it's kind of bugging me right now. There we go. So this is my little corn husk doll and her face. And the way I was taught was I can either make legs or I can leave her like this. You know what I mean? So I have 2 choices here. I can leave her like this to make her have a skirt, or I can make legs for it. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you one variation, okay? And then I'm going to morph this doll into having legs. So you can leave it like this, but what I'm going to do first in order to leave it like this is we want to make sure that everything looks cleaner at the end of it. So we're going to cut the bottom. Nice and straight. There we go. Oh, and then I need to cut the bottom of that one too. So as long as everything looks straight. Just a little short little corn husk doll with long arms. But here she is. That's a basic one with, you know, a skirt. So you can obviously make this longer if you wanted to. So what you can do now is you have the arms and the body. So I kind of want to make the arms shorter in the end. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to fix one arm, I believe. So I'll cut this off and make it a little bit more equal. Yeah, so then I'll tie it off with another little tie here. So you can honestly morph your corn husk doll into any form that you would like. I remember when I was a kid, we used to make ninjas. But I am going to just keep it simple today and make the doll like this. In the story, originally, the corn husk doll looks like she did have a skirt because she was a woman. But again, you can make the corn husk doll into like a male form as well, if that's what you please. But I cut the arm off a little bit just to make it a little bit more equal at the sides there. So if you really want legs, all you really have to do is kind of split up the corn husks at the bottom, as you can see, and then all you have to do is just tie them off with 2 ties each. So I'm going to do that right now, okay? Or again, you can leave it like this, just so she can kind of stand. This is a very easy variation of the corn husk doll, so if you like to get a little bit more creative with your corn husk doll, by all means do so. For me, I like to personally keep things very simple, and I teach young children anyway, so it's very important for me to keep things really simple for them, so I don't naturally go into the leg part of it, unless like a parent or someone is asking to do that. So I tied off one string here, okay? The next thing I would do is I would stay on the same leg, but I would tie it off the way I just tied it off here. Again, double knots are always good just to keep everything in form. And using sinew is a lot better, just saying. So I'm going to double knot both of these, okay? Here we go, off we go. See, and that's what we would do for that. So I am personally just going to turn these around a little bit. Okay, perfect. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them a little bit because they're a little bit too long, the strings. And keep it simple. Keep it simple, keep it simple. Okay. All right, perfecto. So as you can see one variation of the leg there. So again, you can do it like that, and then I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. So bear with me, folks. So with the different variations of the corn husk doll story, you'll hear of a little boy who drowned in the water, and whom, and where the corn husk doll wasn't taking care of her responsibilities, because her responsibility initially was to take care of the children and to remind the Ungwe Suan, the people, of their own responsibilities as well. So when we're not, again, following along with our own responsibilities as people, whether that be to be a sister, to be a daughter in my case, to be an auntie, this is a great reminder of like ourselves and the story of the corn husk doll as well. So I'm just going to tie off the bottom, as you can see. Hold on here. I'll show you. You guys can't see right now, but I'll show you in a minute. So I just did the other side there, and I believe I double knotted the first one, the first string, and then I'm just going to double knot the second string at the bottom. But this is a great reminder for our little ones as well, and then our youth, you know, that struggle with themselves in any way, shape, or form. I like teaching this to the little babies because they always like having a doll after the fact, and I like to play with them. But this is my variation of the corn husk doll, and this is what I like to call, yeah, the nòra Kaiatoni. Well, not what I like to call, what our people like to call them. So again, this is the corn husk doll, and I think that's all I have for you today, folks. But other than that, this would be it. All right. So I'm just gonna close off again with the 131 Dekwa, and I really hope everyone loved this small craft, even though you weren't able to see it very well. But I hope I was able to help all of you with making the corn husk doll in any way, shape, or form. So you can use this craft specifically with your little ones if you want to try something new. You don't necessarily have to tie the head off twice. I just did that because my corn husk was kind of falling apart. But generally, like, you would take this and then you would wrap your corn husks around the head, basically, you know what I mean? Sort of thing, before you'd actually like tie it off. But again, you can do the head in any way, shape, or form that you would like, as long as it stays together. Okay? But yeah, that's my guy or my girl, my corn husk doll, the nòra Kaiatoni. So I'm just gonna close off here with the 131 Dekwa. Gwego anskat G and G dway wat nuni ne angwat ni gorda dayatinu arandus ne onunk ungwe su'a togari nayoto ne angwat ni gorda. Gwego anskat G and G dway wat nuni ne angwat ni gorda dayatinu arandus ne yeti ni sta'a gio and jade togari nayoto ne angwat ni gorda. Gwego anskat G and G dway wat nuni ne angwat ni gorda dayatinu arandus ne gat ni gardunyo togari nayoto ne angwat ni gorda. Gwego anskat G and G dway wat nuni ne angwat ni gorda dayatinu arandus ne ganjok su'a togari nayoto ne angwat ni gorda. Gwego anskat G and G dway wat nuni ne angwat ni gorda dayatinu arandus ne oderda su'a togari nayoto ne angwat ni gorda. Dayatinu arandus or Gwego anskat G and G dway wat nuni ne angwat ni gorda dayatinu arandus ne ohunde su'a togari nayoto ne angwat ni gorda. Gwego anskat G and G dway wat nuni ne angwat ni gorda dayatinu arandus ne oji nua su'a togari nayoto ne angwat ni gorda. Gwego anskat G and G dway wat nuni ne angwat ni gorda dayatinu arandus ne gahik su'a togari nayoto ne angwat ni gorda. Gwego anskat G and G dway wat nuni ne angwat ni gorda dayatinu arandus ne onunkwa su'a togari nayoto ne angwat ni gorda. Gwego anskat G and G dway wat nuni ne angwat ni gorda dayatinu arandus ne John Hekwa, Togari Nayoto, Neangwat Nigura. Agwego Anskat G and G Dwayt Wat Nuni, Neangwat Nigura, Deetinu Arandus Ne Gundirdio, Dano Unskanundu. Togari Nayoto, Neangwat Nigura. Agwego Anskat G and G Dwayt Wat Nuni, Neangwat Nigura, Deetinu Arandus Ne Garun de Su Andeno Ogward Su Togari Nayoto, Neangwat Nigura. Agwego Anskat G and G Dwayt Wat Nuni, Neangwat Nigura, Deetinu Arandus Ne Ojidon Ogua, Togari Nayoto, Neangwat Nigura. Agwego Anskat G and G Dwayt Wat Nuni, Neangwat Nigura, Deetinu Arandus Ne Gayeri Niga Werage, Togari Nayoto, Neangwat Nigura. Agwego Anskat G and G Dwayt Wat Nuni, Neangwat Nigura, De Cheat Wat Nu Weran, no wait, Deetinu Arandus Ne Yunki Sutta Ogu Aradi Werdas, Togari Nayoto, Neangwat Nigura. Agwego Anskat G and G Dwayt Wat Nuni, Neangwat Nigura, Deetinu Arandus Ne De Cheat Wat Nu Arandus Ne Anjida Wat Gia Joka Neka Garakwa, Togari Nayoto, Neangwat Nigura. Agwego Anskat G and G Dwayt Wat Nuni, Neangwat Nigura, Deetinu Arandus Ne Yeti Sutta Asitaneka Garakwa, Togari Nayoto, Neangwat Nigura. Agwego Anskat G and G Dwayt Wat Nuni, Neangwat Nigura, Deetinu Arandus Ne Yojisto Guarduno, Togari Nayoto, Neangwat Nigura. Agwego Anskat G and G Dwayt Wat Nuni, Neangwat Nigura, De Cheat Wat Nu Arandus Ne Sungwayat Diso Dano Gutsat Stansura Sirawana Sa Oyerda, Togari Nayoto, Neangwat Nigura. Ona Tony Orde, Wagaderi Watsquani, Doga Oteno, Junget Nigorha, Izige Nee, Azawa Dot Serodo, Toknikawanage, Dana Ona Eto. Alright, everyone, I hope everyone enjoyed my presentation on the corn husk doll, and I hope you took something out of it. Again, I'm very sorry that you guys weren't really able to see how I was making it. I did try my best to essentially show you how to make it. And again, if you ever have any questions, my name is Camellia Miracle on Facebook, so you guys can always shoot me a message on the teaching itself, and I can again give it to you personally. All right, so onagiwahe satni seriosto, and have a good day. Yeah.